understand the Internet of Things, we have to start at the physical edge. An IoT system begins with physical hardware, sensors and microcontrollers, collecting real-world data and pushing it up to a cloud infrastructure. But an edge sensor cannot transmit that data to a server on its own. It requires a dedicated communication layer to bridge the gap between the physical environment and the digital network. Every communication layer is bound by a central engineering trilemma. This chart illustrates the three competing constraints: data bandwidth, transmission range, and power consumption. Manipulating one axis inherently compromises another. Pushing massive data over long distances drains your battery. The laws of physics dictate no single protocol optimizes all three simultaneously. Pushing range drops capacity. Prioritizing ultra-low power restricts signal distance. To understand IoT engineering, we must examine how networks scale from isolated physical cables to distributed wireless meshes by manipulating this exact trilemma. Designing an IoT network means matching a protocol to the specific physical constraints of its environment, accepting that every choice is a calculated trade-off. The engineering baseline for maximum network stability is a wired connection. Physical cables, like Ethernet or USB, provide uninterrupted high-speed data transfer directly to a central monitoring computer. Because the data travels strictly within an insulated physical medium, wired systems are isolated from radio frequency interception. This makes them highly secure and ideal for contained setups like factory automation. But physical cables hit a hard limit when introduced to massive spatial constraints. If a deployment covers hundreds of kilometers of agricultural land or a sprawling industrial space, the material costs of the copper wire and the labor to insulate it become completely prohibitive. This geographical scale forces engineers to cut the tether. To ensure the network can scale, the architecture must transition to wireless radio frequency communication. Wireless radio communication requires sacrificing hardware-level signal isolation for the flexibility to deploy sensors anywhere within the network's radio footprint. Without a physical power line, network architects face an immediate problem: reliably routing data through the air without rapidly draining the edge device's internal battery. If the environment demands short-range communication, typically 1 to 10 meters, and low data throughput of roughly 1 megabit per second, Bluetooth is the optimal protocol. Its primary architectural purpose is localized, device-to-device pairing. A fitness tracker sending heart rate data to a nearby smartphone is a classic application. It operates on the heavily trafficked 2.4 GHz radio frequency band. To manage connections on this frequency, Bluetooth relies on a structure called a piconet. This is a rigid star topology built on a master-slave model. The protocol enforces a strict mathematical limit on this topology. One single master device can actively control a maximum of 7 slave devices simultaneously. The slave nodes cannot communicate directly with one another. All data must pass through the master. To maintain its low-energy profile within the structure, Bluetooth rapidly toggles through a series of strict power state management modes. In active mode, the connection is fully open, and data flows continuously between the master and the slave. When active data isn't being pushed, the protocol switches to sniff or hold modes. These act as micro-power-saving pauses, keeping the devices synchronized while drastically reducing power draw. For deeper power conservation, it enters park mode. The device drops the active connection entirely to preserve battery, while remaining paired to the master node in the background. Bluetooth achieves extreme power efficiency by intentionally throttling its transmission range and severely capping the total number of connected nodes. With millions of devices broadcasting across the same 2.4 GHz frequency, hardware nodes must be able to precisely identify and authenticate each other in the RF space without overlapping. To solve this, every single Bluetooth device is hard-coded with a mathematically unique 48-bit MAC address, represented here by 12 hexadecimal digits. The first 24 bits make up the organizationally unique identifier, or OUI. This block is assigned directly to the hardware vendor. The remaining 24 bits are divided further. The next 16 bits form the non-significant address part, or NAP. Following that is the upper address part, a smaller 8-bit block. The NAP and UAP blocks manage the complex background tasks of the protocol. They are responsible for calculating frequency hopping sequences and seeding specific cryptographic algorithms to keep the connection secure. Finally, the lower address part makes up the remaining bits. This segment is the absolute unique identifier for that exact specific hardware unit. This rigid 48-bit schema gives the master node the exact mathematical coordinates it needs to perfectly synchronize with its 7 slaves, ignoring all other radio interference in the room. A seamless, user-friendly device pairing is actually the result of a highly orchestrated, bit-level hardware handshake designed to isolate specific signals. Bluetooth works perfectly until it hits a physical wall, distance. Move a device beyond a few dozen meters, and the signal integrity fails. Standard Wi-Fi can cover longer distances, but it consumes vastly too much power for tiny battery-operated edge sensors to sustain for long periods. To cover large areas without draining power, engineers rely on Zigbee. This protocol is specifically architected for wide-area, low-power sensor arrays, like smart building lighting systems or industrial energy meters. Zigbee's core architectural advantage is mesh networking. Instead of forcing every device to communicate directly with a central hub, data packets originate at an outer node and travel through multiple intermediate nodes to reach their destination. This architecture bypasses individual range limits. By passing data sequentially through nearby devices, the network effectively turns every sensor into a signal repeater. The network relies on 3 specific hardware roles. At the center is the Zigbee coordinator. This root node manages the entire network and acts as the bridge back to a central server or the wider internet. Next are the Zigbee routers. These intermediate nodes must remain continuously powered, as their job is to receive and bounce the signal further down the chain. Finally, there are the Zigbee end devices. These are the physical edge sensors. Because they only need to transmit data a few feet to their closest router, they can enter deep sleep modes and save massive amounts of battery life. Mesh networking circumvents the range limit of individual radios by allowing data to hop between nodes. This enables massive network expansion while keeping the power requirements of individual edge sensors extremely low. We can map these protocols onto a matrix to see how they resolve our original engineering constraints. This graph plots transmission range on the x-axis against power consumption on the y-axis. Wi-Fi sits firmly in the high-power, high-range quadrant. It is the mandatory choice only when massive data throughput is required, like streaming live security video to the cloud. In exchange, the engineer must accept high battery drain or provide a dedicated power supply. Bluetooth sits at the opposite end, in the low-power, low-range quadrant. Its strict master-slave piconet makes it the undeniable choice for short-range, localized personal device pairing, where preserving battery is essential. Zigbee breaks the physical limitations of a single radio. Its mesh topology allows it to span from low to high range along the x-axis, while remaining strictly low power on the y-axis. System elegance is determined by how well a network topology survives the physical realities of its environment, rather than the raw speed of the protocol itself.